Hi all, welcome back to our lecture series. We were talking about the how to solve product cases, product problems. I want to start with start by congratulating you for completing 50% of this lecture series. I have uploaded 5 videos before, but you don't actually have to watch all those 5 videos to understand what we talk about, whatever we are talking in this video. You can continue watching this video without going back. But I wanted to stress on this one point, which is since you have started watching this video, finish this complete video. It will take probably 30 to 40 minutes, right? So finish this video. You started this video for some reason. You wanted to learn something. So stick with this video and complete this video. I'm promising myself that I'll complete this lecture series. I'll try to upload one video every week. I think I missed 1 week, but yeah, the rest of the weeks I have uploaded one video each. So let's promise ourselves that we will complete whatever we started, and uh, right now uh, we will complete this video. Cool. So this is the main point we were discussing in all the previous videos. Never jump into solutioning. Understand the problem first. Let's say you are getting a problem statement during an interview, or you are trying to solve some product problem. The most important thing is never jump into solutioning. Don't try to think of a feature or a solution directly. Instead, spend 5 to 10 minutes time to understand the problem first. So this is what we have been talking about. And we were also talking about how to do this. That is the whole point of this video as well. How do we understand the problem? What should we ask? When we have time to ask some clarifying question, what should we ask? Right? So we have been talking about these 7 components, namely scope, users, timeline, competition, features, funnel, and goal. And we have talked about all the 6 other components other than funnel. And we'll be covering this one component today. What are the things we can ask about this component? Why is this component really, really important in product problems? And how can you ask questions and understand about this component so that you will ultimately reach the exact pain point, and then you can think of solutions. Again, I think I have been talking about this in the other videos as well, which is you have 7 components. You saw 7 components right now. So if you ask 3 to 4 questions about each component, that will become total 20 to 30 questions. And this is during the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the interview. You got a problem statement. Let's say there's you as a PM at Zepto, you noticed the number of cart additions is going down. So why is the cart additions declining? Why are people not adding things to the cart anymore? Right? If you get this kind of a question, spend the first 5 to 10 minutes time to ask 20 to 30 questions to the interviewer so that you will get clarifications, you will get extra data. Maybe the interviewer will have extra data on 5 to 10 questions you ask. So in the first 10 minutes, you will slowly build a map in your mind, right? With more data about the problem. And then then you will understand what exactly is the problem. And then you will have an idea where you should go. You will understand the direction where you need to go during the whole case solving interview, right? This does not just apply to the interviews. You should this in real life also this usually happens. We jump into conclusions and solutions without really understanding the problem, without understanding where we want to go. We only think about the speed, we only think about the pace in which we solve it, which will become a headache after a point because we have invested a lot on a particular solution. Then we figure out, okay, this is not the right solution because we were solving the wrong problem itself, right? Sometimes this happens. So to avoid this, we have to really spend some time to understand the problem. This is what we have been talking about. today we'll be talking about this one particular component, which is funnel. So when I say funnel, it's a typical conversion funnel where let's say 100 people are coming in, and 90 people are registering. Let's say 70 people are trying to use it for one time, and 30 people are coming back again after 1 or 2 days, and 5 people are actually paying for the product. You see, 100 people are coming in, and at the end, 5 people are paying for the product. This is what a typical funnel look like, and this is what we call funnel. We think in these terms, in terms of funnel, because we have to know where exactly some issue is happening. If 100 people are coming in and only 5 people are signing up, only 5 people are registering in the platform, let's say, that will become a problem, because then that will also mean uh, the next step will be less than 5, and probably no one will pay for the product. So even though 100 people are coming, we have to make sure at each step the conversion numbers uh, like as we expect, right? It should be a minimum, it should be some number, some percentage. So if we see that that percentage is really low, we understand something is problematic, some there is some issue in that particular step. And this is why we use this funnel thinking, right? Usually I think in this two types of funnel. uh, I'm just naming it as macro and micro, but what I really want to say is it's just a way of zooming in and zooming out. So when I say macro, this is the zoomed out version, zoomed out view, right? When I say zoomed out, what do I mean? So it's basically, this is a zoomed out view. The people are coming in to register, and then people are paying. So this is the whole user journey, right? So I would call this a macro funnel. If I zoom in in this particular area, which is from step 1 to step 2, if I zoom in into this particular area, then I would call it as uh, okay, I'm trying to draw a lens, zoom in lens, but I'm very bad at this. Okay, so if I zoom in between this step, I try to call it micro funnel. So there will be multiple steps in between these two big steps, from a person registering to a person who's using it for first time. There will be smaller 10 smaller steps in between. So those smaller steps, 10 steps, I call it micro funnel. So that is the difference between macro and micro. The whole reason we need this kind of a thinking is, whenever we get a problem, we should not focus on one particular step initially. We should always focus on the bigger picture, which is the macro funnel. Then we have to look at it, and we'll understand in which step the issue is happening. Then we can focus on that particular step. So first, understand the micro funnel or the zoomed out version, have a bigger picture, and understand where exactly the issue is happening, and then zoom in into that particular step. So this is why we need to, this is why I talk about my macro and micro funnel. I'm not sure if others use this term. This is, I haven't seen anyone else using this, but I just use it for convenience. So just look at this. Okay, usually funnel thinking is really, it becomes really important when it comes to product metrics, that kind of problem, and product growth kind of problem. Usually this is not very important in product design and product strategy kind of problems. And this is, I'm talking generally. In some very specific cases, it funnel can become very important in design or strategy, but generally speaking, funnel is important for these two types of problems. Okay, so let's think about product metrics type. What you have to think of is when you think about that macro funnel I was talking about in the bigger picture, you have to look at where exactly is the drop happening. When I say drop, I mean the drop in metrics. For example, 100 people are registering and 70 people are 70 users are using the product for one time. So step one is users registering, step two is users using it for first time. Let's say after 1 month, the new metrics looks like 100 users are registering and 10 users are using it for first time. You see where the drop is happening? The drop is happening between step one and two. And now, since it is happening in between step one and two, you can zoom in and think of a micro funnel or a zoomed in view. What exactly are the smaller steps user take from registering to using it for first time? Let's say users are registering and now they are directly uh, going into the home page, let's say, and they are seeing some icons and they should be clicking on a button, but instead they are not clicking on that, they are doing something else. So the user may be doing some other steps as well before using the product for one time. So the drop is happening in between these two steps. You can zoom in on that. You can ask the interviewer what are the smaller steps. You can assume few things and then slowly you will diagnose the issue. You already understood the issues in between step one and two, but you don't know what exactly is the issue, but you can diagnose it later, right? This is why in product metrics type of questions, this is usually the way we solve things. Usually we will see some drop happening in one particular step and then we'll zoom in and then we'll diagnose the issue and then we'll solve for the issue. We'll try to think of some solutions for that particular issue or try to think of some features. Now, when it comes to product growth type of questions, we still need to think about macro and micro funnel when we get the problem first. Again, let's say we need to, as a PM at Zepto, you need to increase the average order value. So that's a product growth question. You have to increase the average order value, right? So you have to first think about the macro funnel, like the bigger picture. A user is registering, he is redirected to the home page. He is seeing so many items there. He is selecting few, adding it to cart, and he is also using the search bar, searching for specific items and adding them also to the cart. Then he is going into the cart page. Then he's uh, maybe swapping few items, maybe deleting few items, right? And then he is clicking on the payment button. He's redirected to the payment page. He's paying for that. He's uh, receiving the item and he's adding a review. So how many steps did I cover? Maybe 9 or 10 steps, right? So this is the overview, this is the bigger picture, what exactly is happening. And if you want to improve the average order value, you can try to intervene in each of these steps. How can you uh, show big ticket items in the home page? If you show big ticket items, this may improve the average order value, right? And what is the next step? They are browsing something, right? They are searching on the search bar. So there might be some recommendations or suggestions, right? So how can you uh, show bigger big ticket items on the recommendations as well? So in each step you can try to improve one that particular metric. That metric is basically average order value. You have identified 9 steps in this particular funnel. You can try to think of ways to intervene in each of these steps. This is how you can improve that particular metric. This is one way of solving product growth problem. So funnel thinking is very, very useful when it comes to metrics and growth. Now let's look at few questions we can ask. So I hope you understood why this is important, right? What is macro and micro funnel? Why this is important? Why this helps? Now, this particular set of questions, it's basically how to ask questions regarding funnel. So one thing is you can directly start uh, talking about the steps in the macro funnel, right? You should be asking the interviewer whether it's correct or not. You should be actually taking some feedback from them. You can try to define the steps and then ask, okay, I'm defining the steps like this, am I going in the right direction? You can ask the interviewer directly. And you have to think of metrics in each step. What is the metrics? If average order value is the metric we want to improve, then yeah, the price tag of the items can be uh, something we can focus on. That is one thing we can focus on. There might be multiple more metrics we can think of, and for each step we have to focus on that particular metric. So you can ask the interviewer, this is the metric I'm thinking about to improve in this particular step, and you can take some feedback from them. uh, Another question is which particular step to zoom in. So now let's say I just talked about 9 to 10 steps, right, in for a Zepto user. Now should we actually intervene in between step 2 and 3, or does it make more sense to intervene in the last step, which is cart addition step? Which one is better? So if you look at the number of conversion, like the number of users who reach each step, maybe from step 9 to 10 you are seeing that the conversion is actually low, and maybe focusing on that particular step alone will have a huge impact. If that is the case, if that step 9 to 10 will have a huge impact rather than step 2 to 3, then you can actually focus on that particular step 9 to 10. How can we increase the metrics? So that is where you need to focus on, and you can think of the micro funnel in between that those two steps. So this is another thing you can talk to the interviewer. And whatever steps you come up with, you have to think of how to intervene at each step. What are the solutions? What are the features you can add in each step? And sometimes another question is starting and ending of the funnel. Like in the previous case, the registration of the users signing up, that step is not very relevant. Uh, Maybe it's not very relevant in this case, and you can double check, cross check it with the interviewer. Should I uh, start from the step where user sign in, or should I start from some other step? Right? You can explicitly ask this to interviewer. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to understand where should we finally focus, right? We are asking these questions to understand which step should we focus and which metric should we focus on. And this is the whole uh, reason we are thinking about funnel. If we increase that particular metric in each step, then we can assume that the growth is happening, right? One example of macro funnel can be in case of YouTube, right? User is opening the app, user is watching a video, and then user is closing the app. That can be it. It's a very simple, very broader view of user journey. But what is an example of micro funnel for the same example, right? I am trying to zoom in between step 1 and 2. What is step 1 and 2? YouTube app open, and then user is watching the video. So from user opening the app to user watching a video, what can be more steps? What more steps can we come up with? So user open the app, user is seeing the splash screen, right? When the YouTube app is opening, they'll be seeing some splash screen. So they are seeing that User is landing on home page, user is seeing the list of videos, then user is clicking on the search bar to search, right? User is typing something, user sees the suggestion in the drop down while typing, right? These are micro steps I can think of, and I can do this all day long. Yeah, uh, we can go on like this and come up with 25 more smaller steps between these two steps. you know Between these two steps we can come up with 25 smaller steps. It is quite possible, right? 25, I can come up with 25 smaller steps in between these two, like this. You might be wondering what is the use of this. Now let's say the engagement in YouTube is going down, and you are the PM at YouTube, and you are trying to figure out what really is happening. And let's say out of 100 people who are opening the app, uh, 90 people are, sorry, let's say 99 people are, 99 users are seeing the splash screen, and only 15 users are landing on homepage. If this is the case, you can immediately see that something is wrong here. This number should be more, right? Which also means something is happening from splash screen to landing on homepage. Maybe the app is getting taking too much time to load. Then it's a technical issue, right? You can solve it from that aspect. So this is why you need to keep drilling down, keep thinking of more steps so that you can end up with the uh, right problem. So if this is the thing, if this was the issue, let's say if the app is taking too long to load and users are waiting on the splash screen for 20 seconds, 30 seconds and all, and they're dropping off, let's say, and you got this particular problem statement during the interview, but you actually forgot to add this particular step. Instead, you are thinking of uh, this particular step. Let's say you're thinking we should improve the recommendation engine so that more people will click on those videos, the videos will be more relevant to the users. You are thinking about improving the recommendation algorithm. That would be a wrong solution for this particular example, because the actual issue is users are spending 30 seconds, they are waiting for 30 seconds so that the app is loading, right? Think about this. So if this was the issue and you were focusing on the recommendation algorithm, then that would be the wrong solution. And this is the reason why funnel become really, really important. This is how funnel thinking will help us. I just wanted to give you that particular example. Okay. So this is one question you can explicitly ask. In interviews, interviewer will not usually remind you to think from a funnel perspective. They won't really ask you to think in step one, step two, that direction. So you can come up with uh, some steps. You can make up a few steps, just like I made up this YouTube car steps. So you can make up these steps and you can ask explicitly what is the number of users that reach each step of the above funnel. You can explicitly ask this, and this will lead to a more clearer picture. And if the interviewer does not have data, that also means that is not the issue. That is not where the issue is happening. If they don't have the data, that's not probably where the issue is happening. The issue is something else, right? So do remember to ask this thing explicitly. I'll give you an example, a practice example. So user watch time on YouTube Shorts has dropped by 25% in last 2 weeks, despite no major UI or algorithm changes. How will you define macro funnel? Between which steps would you zoom in? What is this? Steps. Okay. Between what steps would you zoom in to define the microfunnel? Okay. So the thing is, user watch time on YouTube Shorts has dropped in last 2 weeks. No major UI change, no algorithm change. So these are the keywords you can focus on. Think about the macro funnel. Think about micro funnel. Think about the questions you can ask to the interviewer, right? Uh, yeah, I think uh, these two are the homeworks I have for you. This is the second question. You are a PM at YouTube. Your app's daily active users (DAU) has plateaued, which means it was going like this and then now it is like this. It is not growing anymore. How would you grow it? So this is a product growth type question. So plateauing means something like this. The number of users were going up, but then now it is not increasing anymore, right? So again, try to define the micro and micro funnel and what are the questions you can ask to the interviewer. So practice on defining these. Go as micro as possible. Try to think of steps like these, like splash screen, things like that, right? So this is a really good practice you can have. You won't get stuck anymore if you practice this enough. You should be. This is just I zoomed in between these two simple steps, right? Which is user is opening the app and then watching the video. In between these two steps, I was trying to come up with more 25 more steps. So if you keep practicing something like this, if you try to think of each smaller steps like this, I'm pretty sure you will never get stuck anymore. You will eventually understand where exactly the issue is happening. So this is one practice you definitely have to do. Watching this video is only one thing. The second thing is you should go back after this video. You have to practice doing coming up with the steps in the funnel. Try doing this and this problem as well. Okay, so that's it. This funnel, the major items about the funnel, I think we have covered, and we have also covered all the 7 components now. And in the next video, from next video onwards, we'll be taking one particular problem statement and we'll be solving it, and you will be getting examples of how to come up with solutions. Right now, we were only thinking about these 7 components, how to ask questions around those 7 components, right? But from the next video onwards, you will be getting a proper example of a problem statement, and we'll take some time to ask these questions, and we'll take some time to understand the issue. We'll take some time to come up with some solutions and then prioritize it. We'll do all of these in the coming videos. So I hope this was also useful for you guys. You can go back and watch the previous videos to understand more about the 7 components. So see you in next video. Thanks for watching.